what she said made a lot of sense as far as, oh, the woman is displaying love. But I think that where it was dangerous is that she made it seem like that could only come from the woman. A man approaching a child in correction is love. Now, yelling, screaming, berating, that's a different thing. But if he's speaking and he's instructing, he's loving that child. And I don't know why we, separate it like that. Like, oh, he the man, he's only coming with discipline. No, we love what we produce. We know that.
If my kids know that I'm gonna be gone for 9 to 12 months, they're automatically thinking as soon as dad is gone, I ain't got to do shit that he had me do because my mom ain't gonna make me do it. Because the majority of the times, the moms do not make them do it. It's not a big a deal for him to go outside and do something. It's not a big a deal for him to go outside and pick up paper. It's not a big a deal for him to clean his room. Those aren't things that moms tend to make their kids do when there is a dad in the home. So for those 9 to 12 months, they are all about the mom. That's why they make military members take classes on how to come back home. We have to reacclimate to our families. We can't go from, we gone for 9 months and then immediately walk in and be back on your drill sergeant shit. Be back on your stern discipline, your stern love. You have to go back and ease yourself back in. And that's what happens to the majority of military men. Military women, when they deploy and they leave kids, it's almost as if they get to just come right back to where they were because all they have to do is do the nurturing shit again. Hey, mama love you, pick you up, buy you stuff because you done saved up a bunch of money for deployment, saying cooking food, and you just get that soft time back. So it's a little easier for women to adjust from that in the military, at least.
I think if that's the case, and I know those are kind of one-offs because it's such a small representation of people having families that are, of that lifestyle. So I appreciate that we're sharing that, but it's such a small subset of the society. It has some validity, right? I would say if I seen that in the capacity of a military family or someone who's away, that there's a disconnect between the man and the woman, because the way I look at leadership as a man is my spirit should echo through her, through those children, regardless of if I'm there or not. Now, I do understand that from a children's perspective, they can't identify with your presence or your familiarity. I understand that. But then I would say, to your point, Willie, there's a disconnect that she can't mimic the carrying out of objective. There should be something there that exists regardless of if I'm there or not. And that's even to a person working 12 hours or whatever. And I think a lot of times people get with people who don't have similar parental styles, or at least understand each person's strength. If I'm with this woman, she was vetted. If we had kids and we married, she was vetted. So there's nothing that's going to happen in my house that I don't approve, regardless if I'm there or not. And I think people do this. They disconnect each other. Like, she's the mom, he the dad. What I think should happen is going to happen. No, she should run everything by me, whether I'm there or not, at least in my opinion. And I think a lot of times people don't run their households like that, which is why you see the discourse between themselves as well as the children. There needs to be an understanding of who the hierarchy, the structure of sort. If you see mom, you talking to mom, you talking to dad. At least that's how I've always seen it. And I'll land.
Have any of y'all ever noticed a difference in like dating people? Because I think she was speaking also to like not just the relationship with the kids, but how it functions as a dynamic within dating, the people who operate like this. So have any of y'all ever dealt a woman that, or a man that was raised primarily by one parent, and how did that affect the way in which the interaction with them was, being from the opposite sex?
Women who have households that the mother was the primary, like she said, voice, never works.
Yeah, it is. It's tougher. I think that it does aid a child to get a difference of how both parties engage with them, tone, shared energies of sorts. But again, I'm going to hold the parents primarily accountable for that. What she said made a lot of sense as far as, oh, the woman is displaying love. But I think that where it was dangerous is that she made it seem like that could only come from the woman. A man approaching a child in correction is love. Now, yelling, screaming, berating, that's a different thing. But if he's speaking and he's instructing, he's loving that child. And I don't know why we, separate it like that. Like, oh, he the man, he's only coming with discipline. No, we love what we produce. We know that. So,
which is why a lot of times when the women will say like, oh, wait till your dad gets home, I'm going to tell your dad. And then it instills that certain fear. I mean, I grew up in two separate households, and they were they were both as single parent at some point. I would spend the majority of the time with my dad, and there is a huge difference in from when I was with my mom. My mom was very lenient. I can talk on the phone to whoever I wanted to at any time of night. My dad, he wasn't playing those games. It was, you know, academics, and it was structure. And however, with that, it was the yelling and, you know, very scared and things like that. But so I do, I know most people on here agree with, you know, having that male structure, like you have the kids grow up better, or however you guys want to word it, when you have a male that is present. So
Nah, I was on mute because I didn't want y'all to hear me screaming at my kids since we talking about parenting. You know what I'm saying?
I agree, particularly with True. I think a lot of people, like I've said before, we just have a bad habit of sexing our way through situations and figuring it out afterwards. Like, I don't know why we don't have these questions, like you were saying, and this be a part of our vetting conversation. And I've kind of answered it for myself, because I said a lot of the times when you ask these questions, if you're rooted in answering those or asking those, it's because you don't want to reveal the fact that you all are not compatible. Like, maybe you guys are attracted to each other and it's some great chemistry, but compatibility is completely different. The way that you parent your kids, your styles, the way that you interact with them, your mindsets. That's why he was asking, like, oh, well, if they were raised by one parent, like, what type of mental dynamic does that do? A lot of that has to be discussed, like you were saying, before you even had kids, because once you have kids, I don't understand why you all want to already be acquiesced to the children's best well-being. So if that mother is not as stern, just like I'm saying, even if I'm absent and I'm not there, something should still be in place to structure that child so that they're not getting it in their head like, oh, there's a way I could play. Like, no, mom is still here. There's still a parent. There's still structure. I get it. Like, this happens. But I think a lot of this is rooted in a lack of communication, consistency, and unity, as he was saying, with those two adults before the kids even come there. Like, you can't spill the milk and then be trying to clean it up at the same time. You have to really think about what parenting is, because it's a lifelong commitment. It's not an 18-year sentence, and then when your kids get 18, it's, oh, I'm done, I'm free. No, we're not. Like, I'm 41, I still need my parents. So again, this is very layered and it's very complex, but I think honestly it starts with communication. What upbringing did you have? Because that's going to bleed into your parenting. And then based on that, what type of parenting do you want to look like? And how are you going to proactively make that conducive to your child's well-being? Not your happiness, not your situation or your deviation, just your child. I'll leave it at that.
That's a good point you just said, Ms. Pearl. Made me think of my mom, because maybe part of the reason me not wanting to have kids, because I never wanted to be like my mom. You know what I'm saying? She was very, very dominant, very, very aggressive, very, very, you know what I'm saying, disrespectful, very, just very, you know what I mean? And I used to say I would never want to be like her, but if that's all I knew, though, because my father wasn't teaching me shit. So I think the military kind of raised me. I was with them, but the military is what raised me. So I only really saw what the environment that I grew up in. And that was deploying, moving, going around everywhere, but I never really learned how to be because of how she was. And I'm not making excuses, but I'm just saying.